But Diddy, on the other hand, his hands got blood all on it. He said Big wanted to stay in LA and not work on his album instead of going to London. Well, you about to hear something that completely contradicts that. Take a listen.
We going someplace else the next day, and Puff is always calling this kid, telling me, yo, you going, you going. So now he said, all right, I want you to go to this vibe party. The vibe party comes up. And Big was like, I'm not going to be here for that. You know, Big was telling me he wasn't going to be there because he was supposed to go to London. So now I heard Puff get on the phone with Kirk Burrows. He called Kirk Burrows, chewed Kirk Burrows the fuck out and tell him, yo, Big ain't going nowhere. I said, damn, this nigga, cussed him the fuck out. Ain't that Big, I'm thinking, ain't that Big choice whether he going there or not? He told him to kill it, don't pay for him, don't do nothing, don't fly him, don't do none of that shit. He not going to London. So when I hear people say, oh, Big supposed to been in London and, Big stopped that and stuff. No, Big ain't stopped none of that. Because London was going to give him 25 G's or something. I know for a fact that Puff stopped him from going to London and kept him in Cali and kept trying to get him to the, listen here, you going to this party, man? And I don't think Big had no interest in going in the parties. And I say this and prove me wrong. Show me a picture other than that vibe party.
Now, not only that, but the London promoter at the time said that Big's performance was canceled last minute. Now, you about to hear Diddy go on Wendy Williams' show and talk about how he feels partly responsible for his death, but not for the reasons that you think. Take a listen.
The fateful night Biggie was killed, at the height of his career.
Yes.
Do you ever feel responsible in any way? In any way?
I mean, the thing that I think I always feel some sort of, responsibility because I'm in this thing with him. You know what I'm saying? He's my artist, and he was supposed to go to London that night, and I let him talk me into, not going to London and staying in LA, and that that's something that really bothered me, throughout my life. Is sometimes you have to really go with that decision in your gut, and in my gut I was like, you need to get on the plane, but sometimes when you don't listen to your gut, and this is God's world, it's His plan.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, that's one of the things I regret, not making sure that he went to London.
Right. So, Diddy has kept this lie going, and I believe it's a lie. I believe that Big wanted to really go to London, like Gene Deal said. I do believe that Diddy called Kirk Burrows, cursed him out, telling him that Big wasn't going nowhere. Don't pay for his flights, don't pay for nothing. We want him there. When Big went to that party, that was for promotion for Diddy and Bad Boy. They needed Big to be there because Diddy was there with another businessman working on some deals, and he needed his number one artist to be at the party. So for him to say that, Big talked me into letting him stay because he had a show in London, he's lying. And he's just simply lying. Everyone who was in that inner circle with Big knew that he wanted to go to London. They canceled that and made him stay and go to this party. Now, we're going to get straight into the night of the shooting. Gene Deal said that he had got calls from multiple people, including a dude in jail named Unique, who just got out of prison. He just got out of prison. He was in there for 26 years. He called him from jail, told him, yo, they coming for y'all tonight, vest up. And then the phone clicked, and he wasn't able to get back in touch with him after that night at least. So Gene was already prepared for something to go down that night. He told Diddy, he told Biggie, he told everyone who was there what was going to happen. Diddy said, he ain't got to go. Big said, man, you trying to be a cop. No one wanted to take him seriously, and so they go to the party, and now here's where things get sketchy, because they're saying that we don't know who the shooter was, but the shooter came up and pulled up on him, and they shot it. But now, you're going to see now that this was a little bit deeper than just a random guy coming up and shoot him. This was well planned out, and I believe that all Diddy had to do was make sure that Big was there at the night of the party. That's all. So now let's take a quick break, and then we're gonna get straight into what happened that night and come to a conclusion.
I just seen the car just roll up and just start shooting in there. One dude in the car by himself. You know what I'm saying? I was sitting outside the window. I was looking out the window, and the car just rolled up, stopped right there on the angle us and started shooting the car. He only shot through Big door. Now, this was something that whoever did it, they had to see all that. And they had to plan it, because it happened too good. And it was police out there. They shut the party down from a fire drill, so it was police there.
These are FBI photos. The amazing thing is that Biggie and Puffy were under surveillance at the time of the murder. So did you see the FBI?
Yeah, I saw them, and after the Biggie death, I had spoke to a couple of police, and I saw a couple of pictures that they had when they was watching us. They were showing me pictures of me, asking me who is that? I'm telling them that's me. And they asked me, who is that? That's Biggie's best friend, D-Rock. That's
what they were showing you.
So they were showing us pictures when they was followers and this and that. And they were showing old pictures that, that was in this house. That the police had in LA. So, I was thinking like, God damn, something real fishy is going on.
FBI was following him? Were they following him here in New York City? Up there in California? Everywhere he was going? Why? I would like to know why. Miss Wallace would like to know why. If FBI was following my son, where were they that night my son was shot? And why is it, if they weren't there, why is it that moment, that night, they were taken off? Those are questions that needed to be looked into. Those are investigations that need to be looked into.
Welcome back to the Mad Conspiracies. We're going to wrap this up. So here we go. That was Big's mom, and that was on a documentary Biggie and Tupac stated that FBI had been watching them the entire time. Now, I had trouble trying to find one of her interviews where she said that they told her that the reason why they weren't on him the moment he got killed was that they went on a donut break. I'm not sure how true that is, but what we do know is that they were watching him the entire time. And if they were watching him, why didn't they intervene or do anything or say that they couldn't find a shooter? Here's what we do know. Russell Poole, who was an LAPD detective, was on the case. He found out that David Mack was there the night of the party. David Mack was a part of the Rampart scandal. He was an LAPD cop. In December that same year, David Mack did a bank robbery at Bank of America. And when they checked his home, they found the car that was used to kill Biggie. Gene Deal had reported that same guy, Amir Muhammad, walked up to Puff's car first and was, trying to look and see who was in there. And he stepped up to him. And then he walked back in the same direction of where the car had pulled up on. So if the party got shut down because they said it was too much smoke, it was overcrowded, you had cops everywhere, you had FBI everywhere, and that same guy walked into the same direction that no one else ended up coming from except for him, except for that car, moments after Big pulled off, I would think it's safe to say that Amir Muhammad was a shooter. He has ties to David Mack, and while Mack was in jail, the only person who actually saw him in jail was Amir Muhammad. Now, we know that because when he signed in, he put the wrong Social Security number. And you got guys like Greg Caden saying, oh, well, that doesn't hardly sound like a professional criminal, because he put his Social Security number, basically trying to hide his identity. But the thing is, by not putting your Social Security, that's the only thing that they don't ask you for ID. So he lied about his Social Security, but put his right address, his right name, his right everything else. It was also a case after that where he was menacing a couple with a gun. and he got arrested for that, and he was going to get charged. But then that same couple, a couple weeks later, got killed in what they said was a murder-suicide. So that's also very interesting to know. And what we also know is that also Kevin Gaines was there that night of the party also. And his car was spotted, and allegedly he was supposed to kill Diddy. However, Gene Deal was in the car with Diddy, and he told the driver of the car to run the next three lights, basically throwing him off track because once they ran the next three lights, Big stopped at that first light, so they never left the party. Diddy's car ran the next three lights. So Kevin Gaines, who was in the car, couldn't get the hit on him. So they just got Big and just took off. They actually tried to follow the car after the shooting, but according to Gene Deal, every time they would hit 100, the speed limit would decrease. So there was a chip in the car. So it just goes to show again that FBI was on it from day one. Big had to die because they killed Pac, and they had to make it seem like it was an East Coast, West Coast thing. These were professional hits. Amir Muhammad allegedly was the shooter for Big, and he was able to get off. That robbery that David Mack did was to help pay Amir Muhammad for the job. Kevin Gaines was later killed, and there was some speculation that he was upset because he wasn't paid what he was supposed to get paid because he didn't actually get the job done. And he was killed by another LAPD cop in what they said was a road rage situation. So I think that was a little bit of a keep him quiet type of thing. They killed him also. And Russell Poole, who ended up having all this information I just told you, and he also had a lot more information, but most of the stuff I did say is what he was going to present them with. He died from an aneurysm while discussing that with the LAPD detectives in their office. So if you want to believe that, sure. Chances are, look, maybe he did die that way. But if you have all that information that's telling that LAPD were involved, that cops were involved, and then you die in that same office while discussing it, I think he was killed. Now, of course, we're never going to be able to prove any of these things because they're the ones who's in control of it. I mean, if the police is in control of the evidence, they're in control of everything that's going on, they're never going to put that information out. So it goes out that it was an unsolved murder. We don't know who killed Big. We don't know who killed Tupac. LAPD was involved. FBI was involved. They made sure that Diddy had Biggie to come. They tried to kill Diddy. Diddy even lied and said that when the shots rang out, everyone ducked in his car. Everyone ducked. But Gene Deal said that when the shots rang out, everyone was looking back except for Diddy. Diddy was the only person in the car who had his head clutched down, basically in the fetal position. And he said everyone else in the car was looking back trying to see what happened. He lied about Big wanting to stay in LA and work on the album instead of going to London and getting paid to do a show. He lied about how it went down. He lied about Big not being worried about getting killed or being fearful of his life when the very first clip we heard was Big saying that he's scared to death, you know? And then I didn't mention him at all, but Snoop also played a role in this. And with him, Steve Harvey, and Diddy having this truce meeting, but Snoop was calling Big the whole time that he was in California trying to find out where he was. But Snoop wasn't even in LA during that time. Snoop was reportedly in Miami, but was calling Big constantly trying to find out where he was. And according to everyone in Big's inner circle, including Gene Deal, Big wasn't answering the phone. Big wasn't trying to talk to him. If that's your homeboy, like you said he was, why is Biggie not answering the phone? He obviously thinks you sketch. So the same players that was in the Tupac situation were involved in the Biggie situation, and they got the job done. And now we no longer have two of the greatest rappers of all time. A lot of this information you can look up yourself. A lot of the interviews, some of the documentaries, you know, you can put two and two together. You know, you can kind of just come up with your own conclusion. But based on what I'm seeing and what we know for sure, I think the safest way to put it is that this was a hit, controlled hit by FBI, done by LAPD cops. And they had to get some of the players involved, like Diddy, to make sure that it went down, which is why Diddy refused to pay for Big to go out to London. So, in conclusion,